Hey, everybody, I'm Mike McMahon, and you are watching Trekyards.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain
I'm
Foley.
Commander Kongs, and welcome back to Vancouver.
Well, I was gonna say, hey, look, we're gonna be going to Parliament today. The Parliament class ship, anyway, which was a good call. I mean, we called maybe Canada class or something like
I love
that.
how you still default to
Um,
Canada. That joke does not die. I love it.
the Canada class, yeah. Um, no, but Parliament class was good. I mean, there's a lot of countries in the world that have parliaments, so I think that's great. You can name it more than just areas in Canada. So that's fun. Plus, Parliament is in I think season one of TNG. They're on their way to a planet called Parliament when Picard gets um, taken over by an alien entity.
And
So
it's doubly good because it tells us that this class of ship is the more diplomacy kind. You know, this ship's coming in to solve a planetary crisis and with diplomacy.
well, actually, they explain in the episode that it's more of an engineering ship that works on advanced, complex problems,
Ah,
like imploding a moon. So,
doesn't link to Parliament then at all.
not really.
Well, hey ho, let's do it. We get a few views, we get a few questions answered. We get the top view, we get a nice bottom view, we get a nice side back view, and we do get a plethora of interiors, including a cheeky MSD. More for that to come. So yeah, now you've seen a few views. What do you think of the ship?
I love it. I think it's a fantastic design. I love that the first image we got in the teaser is basically it parked right above the
Yeah, I
Cerritos,
like that.
and we don't know it.
That was cheeky, yeah.
So just to show that it's bigger, that
Yes.
was good. Um, and yeah, I think with the exterior configuration, it seems like it's an updated, newer version of a California class, like the Cerritos. It seems like it's got the same purpose. They do mention the engineering complexity stuff. So I kind of like that. And then the interiors are the same, and Mariner's even like, oh, basically the same ship, guys.
Or perhaps a better example would be, because I don't know which came first, but a better example would be that the New Orleans has a very, very similar saucer to the Galaxy. Well, which came first? One's a shrunk down version of the other. Because obviously it's a kit bash, but I'd be weird to think the California class, a low end ship, would then be upscaled to be a high end ship. Because the way the ship is presented is, it's the Vancouver! Whereas it just looks like a bigger Cerritos, which we know is a very low end ship.
Well, I think the Cerritos came first, and it was like years ago in the Lost era of Trek, and then this is just the newer next generation version of it, closer to the first contact fleet kind of design of the same kind of ship. Would be my thinking anyway.
Okay.
They thought they need
Sure.
to upscale and stuff, so and now all the ensigns on this ship, since it's so much bigger, they actually have their own quarters, things like that. Just upgrading the design.
Yeah, I did find it interesting though. I'm looking at the bottom view. We get a few scaly esque views, but they're all with perspective in mind. Obviously, it's not, which is difficult. And the MSD is a good sign. We'll talk about that later. But you do see the windows, and I think they're about the same scale. But you can see if there's more of them. There's more of a ring, so you get a sense it is substantially bigger. But the way they show it is kind of odd. Perhaps the lunar demolition side view is an accurate representation, because why would you not show them in scale? Why would
Yeah, for the tactical analysis
yeah?
screen, yeah, it would make sense, and you can get more of a sense of scale that way. I think.
So if we base it on
Um,
that, it's a good chunk bigger, even though it does feel really similar. I'm still. I wish it was more different than the Cerritos. I know it is, but it's using the same saucer, the same nacelles with a front bit. Like it's using a lot of the same pieces. That said, I know a lot of people on other Saturday video commented, this is what the Cerritos should have been. We know the Cerritos was an intentionally odd looking ship. I mean, do you think this does the Cerritos but better? Like this is what it would have been if it was more the hero of the story, as in the classic sense. Where do you stand on that? Now you've seen it
yeah,
all.
I would have preferred this one be the Cerritos, honestly, to be a hero ship. I think if we got this one straight out of the gate, people would have been like, "Ooh, interesting. I like that." Whereas the Cerritos, yeah, deliberately meant to look kind of odd and out of place with the TNG fleet.
Rustic.
Yeah, rustic. There you go. I know why they went with the Cerritos design, which is fine, but yeah, I would have preferred something like this, honestly.
And
for that,
why is it better then? Like, why is it an instant? Yes, it works better for me. Now you're seeing all the angles.
because it has the overall Starfleet aesthetic, from the struts to the nacelles. There's nothing odd about it. There's nothing out of place for the era. Whereas we talked about the struts on the Cerritos looking very industrial, and the fact that the nacelles are a completely different configuration and design, or not configuration, but just design, which we don't have an explanation for at this point, really. So, this one just feels like, like I said, if this was the first image we got, this is the Cerritos is the hero ship of the show. We would have been like, oh, and I think there would have been a lot better fan reaction, because I remember a lot of people were flipping out about the Cerritos being ugly and whatever. So
I do think that it has a lot less personality than the Cerritos. It looks like a updated Miranda, and that's kind of it. There's not a lot of it's meant to be more normal. Cerritos has a lot more personal character. Everything's so integrated and so minimalist in a sense, apart from like the impulse engines, which stand out as being a bit weird. But it's much more simple and plain.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is we finally got the Tindy line of "This is the greatest ship I've ever seen." We thought it was for the Cerritos.
Okay.
Because with the way they edited the trailer, she was looking at the Cerritos Delta in the shuttle bay, and that's when the line comes in. And we called it that we didn't hear it in the pilot episode.
Yep.
So that's where this line's from.
Okay.
So,
I mean, it's definitely presented as being, oh my god, it's amazing. But that's the thing about starships and crews and ensigns. If you've only served on 2 ships, and one was like a Janolan, or a Miranda that's already 200 years old, anything newer is going to be like, oh my god. And that's the gimmick, that's the joke. They have the T-88s, it's a newer scanner. Although the fact that you have them before they run out, even now, I don't buy that, because it's not a high enough end ship. I think that's just, again, how do you disseminate information across the entire Federation Starfleet? It's really hard. So I'm sure they don't know, like, there's a testing phase, blah. But it's the same looking ship inside, which is weird, first of all. But there's just enough better things that's like, just like, well, yeah, the day-to-day. It's kind of like if you went to a 3D video game place and someone got the new graphics card. You'd be like, oh my god. It's like, I mean, everyone else has high-end PCs, yeah, but the new graphics cards are one piece. Or he has more RGBs. Like, little things can make a big impression. And I did appreciate that we did see the stellar cartography. We kind of got the new version, and that's a set which you would not think would be on Cerritos. Why on earth would it be? And so that one set told us that, yes, this ship has a totally different mandate. It has more space, has more flair. That was a nice way of having, like, a better room.
yeah, I mean, I got stellar photography vibes right away from that room. It does feel kind of Star Wars-y, though, with the table.
These Bothans worked really hard to get some information of this, of the star system. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's the only problem I have with it. But that being said, whatever. Yeah, I don't think the Cerritos would have a stellar cartography room like this. So,
would have no need. No, you are right. I wish at the end of the scene, they'd said something about the internal, the middle bit, and then it's like, and all the walls turn to space field, because that wouldn't be Star Warsy. That would have been the differentiation. Although, small thing, the Jeffries tubes, that to me they look more advanced than the Cerritos ones.
Absolutely, you can stand up in these ones, which is great.
Yeah, and it's such a small detail, but that was them but better, so I liked that. I think the mess hall's meant to look nicer as well, but we haven't seen enough of the mess hall to really get a sense of that. I think
can't really see much, and it didn't clue into me, but it's the carpet that tells you that you're on the Vancouver.
Yes,
the color.
Yeah, it's not blue.
But because I thought it was back and forth between the Cerritos and the Vancouver the whole episode, which it wasn't. But
this also I say should have. Obviously, we had the flashback to the First Contact uniforms. It would have been great if they had either the Picard flashback ones, or the Nemesis ones still, implying that they were still more head of the fleet and they were using them more. Well, we are busy doing frontline stuff, because they called out that only certain ships have the newer uniforms because they're test ones, etc. So it would have been nice, and that would have been an easy differentiation between the two crews, because you would instantly get lost.
Yeah, I mean, not just that shot, but even the MSD. If you look at the Shuttle Bay area, more shuttles than the Cerritos, more Argos, a ton more Argos, and it looks like the shuttles are actually suspended from the ceiling of the Shuttle Bay. In that, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I wouldn't take that as gospel just because it would make sense to have cars on the ground.
I mean, we see it fire too. So I mean, is there an even?
There is. I mean, they're subtle. Phaser strips.
Doesn't look like it comes out of a phaser.
No, I think
it looks like it's up a little higher, but
yeah, I would think they are. But yeah, very darkly lit. The shots for some reason. I mean, obviously there's a lack of detail because it's animated, unlike Picard where there's a lack of detail because they rushed it and they had no time. Although that said, I think they made a mistake here. The bottom view, they've made the escape pod hatches windows.
They're lit up.
They're lit up. Yeah, that was the animator didn't know what they were because hey, it's this thing. Yeah, that's what happened. They didn't realize because if you go back a bit, which is a shame because the rest is so well done. But I mean, there could be big square windows. So the whole thing feels lower detail because of that.
Well, the back shot where you see it hitting the moon with the beam looks really impressive. I do like the back of this ship. The impulse engines do seem very powerful. There's a lot of room dedicated to those. And it looks like we got the shuttle bay doors above them, like huge shuttle bay doors, like a multi-level shuttle bay deck, it seems.
I mean, it would have to be because the bottom is the pod. There's no other space. Although it's with the animation style, there is no cutout on the left.
No, I noticed that. It could be just a detail not drawn,
I mean,
or just the angle.
I brightened this quite a bit, and then I kept the ship bright, the rest of it the same, so it's kind of... But if you look, I mean, this is one of those things where they obviously had a lot less time. If you look at the right pylon, you can see the geometry is like dum dum dum. And same with the impulse engine, it's very like blocky. Very, very low poly model. Kit Bashy and low poly. But for me, those impulse engines look stupid. I don't buy them at all. They seem like, I mean, come on, TOS Connie, they're the size of a bloody, nothing. The Enterprise E, they're big, but they're integrated. I don't, either it says the ship is very unadvanced, or it's just a choice. I just don't buy them. Sorry.
Oh, I really like them. I think they look really good.
They're so ape brain. Look, it has big engines.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, no.
But I like it, so who cares?
Yeah.
What do you think?
But what do you think of the deflector pod?
I love it. I love the way that it kind of sweeps down from the saucer. Again, that's what... I mean, when we first saw the Cerritos, we speculated that dark area on the back could have been where the deflector pod originally was and had to be moved for some reason. So that's exactly what this is kind of implying.
Yeah.
And I love the way that it's incorporated with kind of like almost like struts attaching it, but the way they swoop down, I think it looks fantastic.
That's the appropriate sleek for a post TNG ship. And it's nice because it's still blocky in different ways, especially the engines. So it's not too advanced. Like it doesn't fit. It's no Prometheus or E. It's blocky. It's less advanced. It's less Pride of the Fleet. It's the Akira has some blocky bits. Although if you just look at that under the way the connection points are to the deflector hull, gives me a very Enterprise F vibe of a similar kind of up.
Yep.
Which I was like, yeah.
Very similar to the Odyssey class.
The two necks.
Absolutely.
The two neck pylons. Yep. I mean, it could be inspiration because it feels so similar, but it also could just be natural because the way it integrates is so beautiful. I don't know.
I also like the nacelle designs on this thing. Lots of red, even on the bottom of the nacelles.
Same as Cerritos, to be fair.
Yeah, I know, but it also has that tie to the Enterprise E look with the front of the nacelles, and then just some added shielding and whatever there. So it's hard to place exactly where this was made construction-wise, but at the same time, that's cool because it's a mixed fleet of older, newer ships, right?
I mean, and for me, like I said before, this is just the Cerritos nacelle, but how it should be, like with all the pieces put together, and it feels that way. The Cerritos then feels like a lower end version. It's missing the cowling at the front, the safety hull, whatever. So it's the same but sleeker. It's like they. It's like they just said, well, what would the standard ship look like at this era? Now let's devolve it by 60%. Obviously it's the opposite. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's it's simple. There's still no visible torpedo launchers. Like it's still missing a lot of details.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's animated and that's okay. And at the end of the day, it follows the TNG tradition of being more kit bash than original ship, which is what they would do. And so there is certainly I see what you did there.
And the thing I see when I got this second picture up where they're both in the shot, I can see this being the original design that was thrown across the table to the producers and to Mike McMahon. And he's like, that looks really good. That looks too good for the ship that these antics are going to go on. Let's put that aside.
Yeah.
Let's take that same design and let's make it look a little bit more primitive and ugly. And then the Cerritos was born.
No.
That's kind of the vibe that I get, and I like that. They would reuse it if that was the case.
Yeah, it definitely either feels like let's take the Cerritos and make it better, or they had like 9 concept designs, and Mike said that's too good. Let's have it be this one. Yeah, absolutely. I also do like the subtlety of the deflector, how it's the same, but it feels more advanced. Just because it goes out, it's got that sort of pushing out feeling, as opposed to like little recessed and just more chunky and powerful. Often it's subtle stuff. Well, I'm surprised the beam didn't come out of the deflector. The way they were kind of, but I didn't even know what the beam did. So, who's to say? Don't really know.
And you mentioned torpedoes. I think that recessed area where it's kind of in shadow, and both shots of it from the bottom, at the front of the saucer there, where it looks like the beam's coming out. I think there could be torpedo tubes like recessed in there probably. If we get a better look at it.
Yeah, my gut is still the torpedo launchers are in the top little fins for both ships. There's not that many details on the hull. My assumption there, because it would kind of...
I never noticed those on this ship before.
Yeah, because that would explain why it's a similar element on all the different ships, because that's the visible torpedo launchers. Just put one tube on each, boom, you've got launchers. Although, I guess last note, does have the forward registry. Good, and the bridge window is clearly not a bridge window because we know the ship is much bigger, and that bridge window would be the size of several rooms, and the bridge is the same. So not bridge window, absolutely confirmed. Those scales do not match up remotely. So excellent.
And I was so pleased with this one to see this, and good job, guys. Parliament class is a thumbs up from Trekyards, at least from Captain Foley. 2 thumbs up. So.
I mean, it's good, but not perfect. But it's not trying to be. So that's okay.
That's right. And speaking of thumbs up, guys, hit the like button, thumbs up for this video. Also, put down in the comments what you think of the Parliament class. Does it get 2 thumbs up from you? Let us know your thoughts on the design, and we'd love to hear from you and have a good conversation down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon to all, so you get notified every time we upload, which we do a lot of. We do a lot of breakdown videos. And we also do a lot of lives. And that's a segue for Samuel. Live.
Speaking of, you can join our lives and be part of the conversation, both just by commenting, saying hi, or by super chatting, which is anything from like less than $1 to 1,000, up to you. And unlike other channels, we actually guarantee read every single super chat, and they often can create a whole chain of conversation. And if you see one thing we don't see, you bring it up to us. We're like, oh my god, that's amazing. So we do value them as well, both to support the channel financially, because we need them to keep ourselves going, but also as a creative way of having a great conversation. So those are brilliant. And if you can't do lives, because obviously they're only certain times of the day, Patreon is a really super way of helping us each month, or join the channel directly. It's another YouTube thing, or one-time donation at PayPal, trekyards@hotmail.com. That's the PayPal. Any amount goes towards us, helps us do the show. YouTube is a fickle mistress with ad revenue. We don't expect it. We don't rely on it. You guys support us, and luckily you do enough, and we think we do enough content to justify that, and we always try and do more. So thanks in advance, and back to you, Stuart.
I guess that means it's time to go. So it's been fun. Hopefully we get more ships to talk about soon. But anyway, guys, until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Contact Kings.
See you later.
Bye, guys.